Good morning, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Glory Sessions. Today, personal responsibility and maybe taking control of your own personal responsibilities. What I see, and if you look at it, you'll see a lot of people, or you'll see a lot of things, similar things here, that people are not willing to take responsibility for their own actions. Everyone wants to blame someone else. Everyone wants to like almost act like a victim. Cormac, how's it going? Everyone almost wants to act like the victim, like as if it's not their fault. They're wanting people to tell them everything's okay. They're wanting people to say that it's going to work out. Don't be worrying. Instead of actually just looking at themselves and asking, what can I do? What actions can I take today to take control of the situation? And if whatever the outcome is, whatever happens, whatever you've done, you have to take personal responsibility for that happening. Now, I know life's going to throw shit at you and fucking life isn't going to go the way we want to go and things are going to happen. But that doesn't mean that you don't take personal responsibility for the outcome. Because the reality is, regardless of what life throws at us, I can guarantee someone else somewhere would have reacted differently to the way you did to that same situation. And because they reacted differently, that means that the outcome would be different. Everything we do is our own fault. Okay. When you can get yourself into that mindset, when you can actually take control of that and own it and accept it, you're in a different position of power. And this is what people understand. Right now, COVID has shown us how out of control we are with our lives, our destinies. Okay. But still, if you look at people, there are certain people who are thriving through lockdown, and there are other people who are just literally dying in lockdown. But we're still hitting the same thing. COVID is locking us down. Our actions, our reactions should in this situation, our reactions to the situation is what's going to determine the outcome, not the actual scenario we're in. And when you understand this, and I know people are saying, oh, it's easy for you to say, Paul, blah, blah, blah. You didn't have this. Again, that's the victim mentality. What you've got is what you've got. Now, what you can either dwell on it and you can look for sympathy for it, or you can just accept that and move forward from it. Let's take a really simple example for it, like fucking parking tickets. Everyone hates getting a parking ticket. No one wants to get a parking ticket. But parking tickets are a necessary part of society today. Why? Because when the people in charge, the assholes in the hill, whatever, we're in a country of millions. So we can't just all park cars wherever we want to. So they have to introduce some no parking zones. Now, if every one of us took personal responsibility and decided not to park in those places and understand that these are designated areas for no parking, well then there wouldn't be a need for the parking tickets. But because we're all lazy, because we're all selfish, because we all think of ourselves and only ourselves in these situations, and we decided, oh, the shops, instead of parking 100 meters from the shop, I'll park right outside the door. There's a need for parking tickets. So ultimately, it's our responsibility because we decided as an individual to not respect these no parking zones. So there needs to be some sort of incentive not to park there. The incentive is you're going to cost money. That's a simple example. But the reality is, if we all chose not to respect these rules, even if you do agree with them or not, for the greater good of society, shall we say, then parking tickets wouldn't be there. And if parking tickets weren't there, then those people in the power wouldn't have realized, fuck here, this is a really good way of making money and then making more money of us. So ultimately, even though the government are the ones doing taking the money from us, it's our personal responsibility. If we all took personal responsibility for that action, these things wouldn't have happened. And that's a simple example. The reality is, every single one of us has the power to change our outcome if we take personal responsibility for our decisions. I always say it. Our thoughts become words. Our words become actions. Our actions become what our reality, and our reality becomes our fucking legacy. It becomes what we're 100 years from now. No one will know any of us, but there'll be people out there who will be known because of their actions, because they stood up, they decided to take personal responsibility for their actions, and because of that, it influenced thousands, millions of other people. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Think of all these, Gandhi. Think of all these people who took personal responsibility for their actions. As Gandhi says, be the change you want to see happen. You've got to become that change. There's no point in bitching about how unfair life is. There's no point in complaining and wasting this energy and time telling everyone how bad life is and how shit happens to you and how it's unfair. Be the change. If you want to see something happen, take responsibility for it. Step up. Take the actions you need to take in order to start pushing forward. Listen, it mightn't be a big deal. It mightn't be a fucking big change, but it's about a personal change. It's an internal change. If you can start taking responsibility for your actions, you can start changing the person you are, and ultimately your happiness and everything that goes on in your life is determined by your actions. And people just don't seem to want to understand that. Look at lockdowns done. Look at the way COVID is reacting. So many people reacted to COVID. We're victims. We want the government to do this. We want everyone else to do this, but we don't want our lives to change. We don't want to take responsibility for anything we could do. We could all act differently in this situation, but we choose not to. We choose to follow the herd. We choose to complain or bitch about and fight against each other on Facebook. I'm guilty as fuck. But we're all doing the same things instead of actually just taking responsibility for what the situation we're in and trying to drive forward. Folks, very quick rant today because it's pissing me off. I'm just seeing so many people blaming others on everything in their life instead of actually just looking and realizing the common denominator in their lives is themselves. And the common denominator in your life is yourself. And when you realize that, you're going to be in a different frame of mind, different mindset to dictate and change the outcome. So